I want you to ask yourself right now, whose frame am I looking through? What do I mean by frame? I kind of view it in a weird way, like a long mirror or some like sort of rectangular picture frame. Imagine that covers your whole body and it's just the frame. And sort of everyone has their own frame, like maybe one chick has like a pastel pink frame with seashells on it. Maybe you've got just like a black frame or like some ornate gold leaf frame. Whatever your vibe is, whatever you like, that's your frame. And we all have sort of a home clear frame that's like got nothing in it and it's just clear, and that's our natural state. It's like those glasses that people wear. I don't know if people are still doing that, where people wear the glasses just for fashion and it's just normal glass, like it doesn't have any lens correction or vision correction in it. It's kind of like that idea, but I just picture a big frame, and people are always trying to impose their frame onto you, and people's frames are often distorted and filled with shit, and that's when we start to feel lacking and when we start to feel not good inside, and we that forces us to act because we're like, oh, there's something, I got to do something, So the biggest thing, like the most fundamental thing about frames, which I'm going to talk about a lot, whose frame are you in? The biggest, most fundamental trap of life or trick that's played, or however you want to say that, is the idea that being happy and following what you enjoy and doing things that interest you and that kind of thing is somehow a bad thing. Like you should feel guilt. Guilt is like underpins everything, like that controls you and prevents you from experiencing well-being in life. So what am I talking about? Basically, like, let's think about yourself as a kid. When you wanted to play, you're like, I'm going to go play, I'm going to go kick the footy with my friends, or I'm going to hang out with these girls, and we're going to do this and that. And you're not worried about like, oh, what does this mean about me? What is this, blah, blah, blah. I'm playing with dolls. Does that make me gay? Maybe. Like I'm doing this. Does that mean I'm going to get in trouble because I'm doing something bad? You don't have to think about it. You just do, and you just do what feels right to you. If something doesn't feel right to you, you're not going to do it. And I don't mean fear and that kind of thing. I mean, you just follow what's naturally enjoyable to you. It makes sense that you just do what interests you. And somewhere along the way, whether it's school or whatever, your parents, who knows where, society, it doesn't really matter. You start to take on this frame where it's like you can't just do that. You can't just be happy, follow what interests you. You have to sort of like, no, you got to get a job, you got to do this and blah, blah, blah. And if you're happy, it's somehow a sign that like you're doing something wrong, or like you're being naughty. That kind of guilt around everything, like even as it relates to vices. So like guilt around whether you're really horny and you like having sex with lots of girls, or vice versa, you're a girl and you like having sex with lots of guys, or you like drinking a lot, or you watch a lot of porn, or you smoke lots of darts or vape, or like watch heaps of TV, or eat junk food, or like all these vices, whatever that might be, like feeling guilty around it, and we do it yet feel shame, and it's because of the lens that we're putting on things, and that shame and that lens that we look through is preventing you from just not feeling guilt around it and just doing the thing and experiencing it. Because so long as you don't experience those things, I mean, if you don't have to develop a drug habit and that doesn't, you can bypass that, great. But like, whatever it might be, you're doing this thing anyway, or you create some sort of resistance with you, and it's not healthy. You're better off just leaning into those things and being like, yeah, like I enjoy this, I'm going to do this. And naturally you'll get to a point where it's like, this isn't really serving me anymore. In which case you naturally sort of move on. And instead of being like, oh, I should do this because it's bad, like, and moving on because of that. And that way you don't experience things. And it's actually seems silly, but it's like part of your spiritual evolution. You cannot bypass this step. It's like absolutely essential. So Yes. So like asking yourself, whose frame am I in right now? If you're having some drinks and you're out and you're whatever, you're feeling guilty for doing that, or you're doing it and you're drinking and drinking away the guilt, or whatever it is, or the next day you feel shit, you're like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. I said all these things, or like, shouldn't have had so much to drink. No, I got to turn my life around. That whole mindset is just built off guilt, and it's like, it's a bullshit frame that you're looking through, and it's like, you don't need to feel that way. You can just let go of that and return to the state of like, oh, it was fun, I wanted to do that, maybe I feel a bit shit. Observe the effect it has in your life. Maybe it takes away from doing other things that are meaningful for you, and you can just adjust accordingly and make changes, but you don't have to feel shit every time you do it. Obviously there's some need there. So this is like at the core, the guilt and the shame and the all those associated negative feelings, the anxiety, like because you want to do something that you enjoy, and there's always going to be some sort of frame someone's going to put on you that's like, don't do that, you shouldn't do that. Oh no, life's supposed to be hard, life's supposed to be suffering, life's, pull yourself up by the bootstraps and crack on and blah blah blah, and you disrespect your ancestors if you're trying to, these generations, these young kids are just blah blah blah. Like all that bullshit nonsense chat is just a load of shit. Just do what interests you, and that's it. And like I will continue saying, you don't have to do anything, become anyone in particular. Like you can just those are all, again, frames that people are putting on you and ideas, and you can just let that go. And when you realize that, there's nothing wrong with me just wanting to be happy and chilled and just do the things that I'm interested in. Again, I would emphasize, it's not about like just going on some like deep hedonistic sort of journey of like, fuck everything, nothing matters. I'm not saying that at all. Absolutely not. But you may need to explore vices and hedonism and that kind of thing to realize, this isn't what I'm looking for. But you can't block yourself through guilt. And so that's the way it's so important to be like, whose frame am I looking through? Looking at my notes, I've prepared notes this time so I don't miss anything that I wanted to talk about. So I guess it then is about looking at all the ways people impose their different frames and all the different people that impose frames on you. Like recently I got a email from like an old course that I did, and some person reaching out, and just the language they used, the copywriting they wrote, I was like, this is so cringe. Like, and not because it was badly done or whatever, but it was just so obvious how basically the whole mechanism of sales, but not even just in sales, it extends everywhere, and I'll go into that. But this whole idea basically of like trying to create a sense of lacking in you, so then you feel this like anxiety and like, dread and that feeling, and then you go, I need to do what they say to not feel that anymore. And it's just a trap. It's just like, here, you've accepted the lens or the frame that they're trying to get you into, and everyone's always just trying to fucking get you into their frame, and it's like a very vampiric way of operating. It's just like, it's fundamentally wrong, I would say. But anyway, this email comes in, and it was just like, look at the whole point. I can't even remember the language that it was using, but it was kind of, all of it was like just selling, trying to just get someone to look at a recent podcast episode or something, and it wasn't even that serious. But the whole point of it was like, making you feel bad, because like it's this whole thing, like look at what I'm accomplished, and like it's the subtle levels of how it made you feel, or was trying to make you feel, to create this gap inside of you that you need to be filled, that can only be filled through giving them more attention or through giving them money. And that's sales at its core. That's all of sales and marketing. And like, you go on social media, that's what everyone's doing. It's like getting you in this stressed state, like, can you believe what all these people are doing? All these hooks and shit that people like on social media use. It's like just ridiculous, and the extremes people go to be like, look what I'm doing, so I'm worthy of attention, and you should give me your attention, and everyone trying to build a following. I know it's kind of hypocritical, me doing all of this, and like wanting the same thing, but my my underlying goal is helps me and it helps other people, hopefully. And I know how beneficial like these kinds of videos have been for me, so I'm trying to give back in a way as well. And for me, it's not about like getting all the fame and money. It's like I'm trying to help people to shift frames so they can just be in their own frame, not in my frame, in their own frame, and see what I'm talking about, what I'm experiencing, get them to experience that as well. You don't need to buy anything from me. Hopefully this helps. That's like the whole point of it. But yeah, the point is that you see it throughout society and everything. Like in that marketing email that I got, trying to make you feel a lack, and you're like, I don't need anything. I'm fine, whatever, I don't need your podcast episode or whatever, as cool as it might be, you think it might be. And so if I work in like a corporation as well, and we had a company-wide Zoom meeting yesterday, and I realized a few things, but the main thing that I realized was that this whole Zoom meeting is like just propaganda. And this may sound obvious, but like to get to like what it is at its core, it's like, here, buy into our frame. Here, this is the frame you should look through. You should think, hey, I'm part of this company. We're aiming for something bigger. We're doing, I'm a part of this. And like, look at all the things here. We're on the right track and blah, blah, blah. Look at all these, it's this whole thing. And look at all these people. We're rewarding people or calling them out for doing a good job. And this whole idea of like, well, I feel lacking because I'm not getting shouted out, or like, yeah, I'm buying in. Yeah, we're on the right track. I'm doing good. And it's just like, fundamentally, what's your role? What are you doing? And it's like, there's such a disconnect between that, but it's like, they just, you just get propagandized. You get fed with this propaganda, and it's just about frame. Everything is frame control. And once you see that, once you've found your home frame and you've gotten rid of any sort of like muddiness of like feeling like you should feel guilty because you just want to pursue what you want to do, and like someone's going to give you, that's a bad idea because you'd be poor. That's a bad idea because no one's going to like you. That's a bad idea because you're a bad person if you do that. All this kind of stuff. Like, inherently, once you are aware of frame control, it just is everything. So companies doing it, and it's same with like at a business, maybe you have targets or KPIs or certain expectations, and notice in all your relationships, but especially at work, like, what happens if you just follow your own direction and just follow your own initiative and just like, I'm going to do this because this works for me. You'll feel the guilt start to seep in, and you can see like, oh no, I'm going to have they're going to get angry with me. And it's like, who cares? Like, in your frame, have you done what you think's fair? Like, have you, are you being truthful and honest and doing your best? Those kinds, even that's a frame. But it's just, it is just tapping into that feeling of what you naturally want to do. Even, and facing fears, that kind of stuff. And you don't need anyone else to tell you what to do, whether it's you're playing sport and it's some coach being like, oh, you only did this many things, got this many possessions or tackles or whatever sport you play, and relate it to that. Errors, unforced errors, penalties, blah, blah, blah. And you're going off their frame, and it's like, fuck that. Just have your own frame and create your own frame and go off that. And then you realize like there's nothing, all this anxiety and fear you have around doing certain things is because you've like taking on other people's frames. And in that moment, you're like, accept their frame that you should feel embarrassed for doing something or feel guilty for doing something. And if you just fucking park that to the side and just go, no, like, this seems fun to me, I'm going to do this. Like, I feel like dancing. Oh, I'm not a good dancer. What's good dancer? What's not? Who gives a shit? Just like, I feel like expressing myself. That's fun. Like, whoever said that you have to be an expert dancer to dance at a club or at a gig or whatever it might be, So it's just, you're just continually trying to protect your frame, basically, from all this distorted noisiness that other people are putting their frames onto you and validating how they feel. So it's like, it actually underpins everything, and it leads on to doing nothing as well. So like the whole fucking life, this whole thing the whole suffering, everything just basically comes from you were born, you have an innate being, a sense of being. When you're a kid, you are tapped into that so much more, and you're not yes, you have less responsibilities and stuff, but you don't have to think about like repercussions or what someone thinks about it. You just act naturally. Like kids aren't necessarily naturally like bratty or trying to do people harm, and if they are that way, then it's often, you know, distortions and usually someone else's frame. But just at your pure core, like your home state, you know what to do, you know what's right, you know what you're interested in, and you just do it. And then from that stage, we start to get all these frames, people imposing their frames. It's your parents, it's like, I don't know, the local priest, it's some political party and someone telling you should do this, some influencer online, some actor says this, you know, your school teacher says this, like, and everyone is just like piling their shit onto you, and you naturally take it on because you don't know about frame control. And then so you can't just be, and it's all about just returning to that state and just being, and then realizing I don't have to be anyone, do anything. I can just chill if I want to chill. And yes, naturally you're going to want to go to work or do work or find a way to earn money and support yourself. Like, you can't escape those things of life, but they don't have to be such a big deal as well. Like, you don't need to make making all this money your be all end all, like materialism, that kind of thing. Like, if that's naturally what you're drawn to, and you like finance or you like this or that, like, fine. It's not saying there's one way of being for anyone, and everyone has a different path in life and many lives perhaps, however you like to look at it, and different things to learn, different life lessons to learn. But fundamentally, it's just about returning to that state and state control and realizing I'm enough, this is enough. Even things that I do, it doesn't make me any more, because if you're already whole, you can't become more whole. And if you're already whole, you can't become less whole because you think, because of the way you think. It's just distortion of the mind. So it's like, I cannot emphasize the key is getting rid of the guilt, controlling the frame. It's all about controlling your frame. And I like to picture it literally as a picture frame. Like, I keep doing this, and it's like literally, I don't know, you're standing in a doorway, it perfectly surrounds you at your size. Or like, those like sort of mirrors you get, those full body mirrors that you might lean up against a wall or whatever, and your body's fully contained within it. That's like, imagine that, and then like people are trying to like slide their fucking frame in front of you, and you can feel it as soon as you rub up against someone, and you can feel their energy. They're like angry at you or whatever because they're looking through their frame and they feel like they should be angry because of X, and it starts to seep, like sort of trickle in or like push in at the sides. You can feel yourself like getting a bit anxious, and you have to really be conscious of being like, nope, whose frame is that? Not my frame. I'm chilling, I'm good, I'm comfortable with who I am. And if you're not comfortable with who you are, it's as in, like, if you're in this state and you're not, when you're in that natural home state, you'll be compelled to do things. You have an innate sense of like, this is my potential, this is what I'm, I want to be like. And it's not like an idea, it's just a feeling. So getting out of thinking and mental traps is the way that this frame stuff works. It's like, here, look through this, interpret things this way, and think, and then you got to like try and think your way out of it. No, you don't. You just go, fuck off. You can put your frame somewhere else. I'm chilling. Move the camera. I'm chilling where I am. I'm happy. I know what I'm doing. I'm not in a rush. I don't need to be anything, be anywhere, do anything. I'm doing this. I'm just being. And that's fundamentally what it's all about. So let's recap one more time. It's about finding your frame, guarding it, protecting and observing all the ways that people try to impose their frame on you. If you start to feel anxious or any of that kind of stuff, it's because you're letting someone else's frame creep in, and there's some overlap, and you're buying into the beliefs of that frame. So keep your frame, look after it, decorate it however you like to decorate it, which is a great like symbol of expressing yourself as you want to express yourself, not for anyone else, but just like what you like and what makes you happy and what's fun to you, and like not putting any judgment on that. So picture your frame in your mind and like imagine what you got. I don't know what mine would be. I haven't really thought about it, but maybe some nice Scandinavian sort of minimalist aesthetic. Probably not. No, I don't know. Those old like glow in the dark stars that you put in your room as a kid. I don't know if you had those. Something fun and childish like that. Maybe I got some stars on mine and they glow in the dark. But that's fun for me. And so find what's fun for you and stick with it and protect it. Guard that shit with your life because it's most important, and everyone's going to try and make you feel a certain way and you don't. And the more that you can do that, the more stable you are in yourself, and the more people will respect you. And yes, you may come up with, there may be more sort of clashes and like tension and polarity because you're not succumbing to them coming to someone else's belief system, basically their frame. You're not letting them superimpose their frame onto your life and your experience, and that upsets them because they're trying to control and they want to feel better about theirs. So guard that shit with your life, and from that frame just relax, take a deep breath and just be. You don't need to do anything. You realize you're like, oh shit, I don't need to do anything, I can just chill, and you have fun. And every time you catch yourself thinking, I got to be doing this, you just chill, slow it down, do some breathing, recenter yourself, and realize, oh, I can literally just do what's fun for me. I don't have to live someone else's belief, dreams, ideas of what life is. And then you tap into that, create a habit, and you're freeing yourself more and more and more. And happy days. So yeah, protect your frame, release your guilt, just be.